Hey y'all, and welcome to the final day of VEDA. Now, I was going to make this another mail day Monday, but the things that I have gotten in the mail are more like accessory things and not exactly exciting mail. And I thought I was going to get one of my Michaels parts to my order, which is really odd. They are like shipping each item individually. Well, the one item that I thought was coming today was you had to order 3 of the same thing. So that was going to be 3 things. But then this evening I got another notification that one more of my items is on sale or is coming in the mail, which that particular item I only had to order 1 of. So yeah, out of like the 20 some skeins of yarn I ordered, I now have 4 that have shipped, and it's been not quite a week, but still. It's been a while, hasn't it? So yeah, I don't have really exciting mail for you. The accessories I got was I did get the converter box thing that goes from the microphone into the computer. And this is because we have determined that it is the USB port that is dead on the microphone, because it is working this way, although I still think that it is recording a little too soft to be functioning correctly, because I have the gain turned up to max in order to get even this quality, and then I am amplifying it 300, or no, I only had to amplify it 270 something. I think that's a percent, but I won't guarantee that it said it was a percent. So yeah, I am still cranking this up quite a bit for it being really, really close, and I have to be pretty much on top of the microphone, which is just a little awkward. But on the bright side, I don't have all the popping from my earpiece, although I still have to use my earpiece, because when I have this microphone plugged in with this converter box thing, my speakers don't work, which was a problem we had when I was originally using this microphone with the USB. The couple times it have sort of worked. So I kind of expected that, so not really a huge deal, since the earpiece and the actual playback into my ear works fine. And other than that, I did get a battery pack for my spinning wheel. Now, this isn't like one that is made especially for the spinning wheel, it's just made for a 12-volt kind of battery thing. And so I got one. It's supposed to last like 10 hours or something. And then these were ones that the guy who made the wheel had actually gone and reviewed himself. And this option was like $30, whereas his next option that lasted like 35 hours cost over 4 times as much. I'm like, well, if it costs 4 times as much, I can get 4 of these 10-hour batteries and not have to lug around huge stacks of things and be just as happy with a thing that can charge or it can be plugged into my spinning wheel while another one is charging. But I did only get 1 battery for now. And actually, since I haven't been using my wheel for the last couple days, since I'm trying to wrap up things for cows, I haven't even plugged it in yet. I just had used the remaining charge that was on the battery when I received it in the mail to spin the rest of my rose fiber. So anyways, yeah, since I didn't feel like going and taking pictures of those for you guys, we'll just leave our mail at that. And then I wanted to spend the rest of the time with you this evening just kind of going over the first third of the year. Yes, can you believe it? It's already been 1/3 of 2018. I mean, that is just absolutely crazy that we're already 1/3 of the way through this year. So I don't know about you guys, but my stash enhancement has been absolutely insane this first third of the year. I anticipate that it will not remain going as insane as it did. I know just in this first third of 2018, I have bought more yarn than I bought in the entire year of 2017. But in all fairness, I have bought yarn in the majority for specific projects, except for when I went insane with the mandala craziness back in January, which wasn't very fair because that was like a week into the new year, and I bought 15 cakes of mandala in all different colors. So that's my goal, is to kind of use up some of those throughout the year, since I obviously have a million of them. So beyond the mandala craziness, I did buy another skein of mandala later on from the same store while it was still on sale, because I used my cake of unicorn for the honey blossom shawl, and then I wanted to use another cake of unicorn for the granny square blanket, and then that was the cake that was an absolute nightmare to work with. Well, it wasn't a nightmare to work with, but it was a nightmare because it was so full of splits. So yeah, I think that was all the mandalas that I had bought. And then I have also bought the yarn that I made my cardigan out of, and I've bought another 400 grams of yarn to make another sweater for myself, and I bought the 300 grams to make Jeremy's sweater out of. I bought the sock yarn to make my husband's socks out of, and then I bought a contrast color for heels and toes for that. So that was another roughly 150 grams. And I'm going all by the grams because I was trying to update my post in the Never Cast Off podcast group, and I realized that I haven't tracked anything since like the end of January or middle of February, since I couldn't really understand some of the stuff I did. I'm kind of having to go back and recalculate it all now. And that's where I was like, wow, we're a third of the way through already, and this is what I've come up with so far. That is just absolutely insane. But yeah, back to all my stash enhancing. There was another ball of the cotton fair, which is what I made my cardigan out of, and that was just the one in the cocoa colorway, which I may or may not use to make nitty knockers. Sorry, I'm thinking of my dyeing from over the weekend, I guess. And I bought the skein of Grace yarn, which was another one of my little stash enhancements. And I bought 3, I think they were 100 gram. Well, they're cakes now, but I think they were 100 gram. They're supposed to be, they look hand spun and they're hand dyed. Those were ones that we got for really cheap at the Fiber Fest thing we went to that I never actually got to tell you guys about because I've just been a bad podcaster, which is also where I got the heels and toes color for my husband's socks out of. Those were from 2 different booths, but I also got my skein of alpaca yarn, and then just recently I got the sugarcane viscose, and I got the llama silk, and geez, is there anything else that I've added? Oh, and I got my Kai yarn for the baby blankets, and those cupcakes, and the little hat topper, or whatever they're called, ones, and the baby cake, which was from that most recent Michael's haul. In general, most of the stash enhancement has been in April or from like very special events. And then the only fiber I think I've added in this first third that wasn't bought in 2017 and just arrived in 2018, but the stuff I've actually bought this year was just my 6 ounces that I got from the first Paradise Fiber box that I got. And that was the 3 ounces of Through the Looking Glass and the 3 ounces of Faux Angora. Oh, and one more thing was the skein of Kaleidoscope, which was, I love this yarn that I got to make the babies their little hats out of. And I think that might be it. Let's hope, because that is a whole lot of stash enhancements. And on the bright side, I do have a bunch of things that I have made. Ravelry says that I have made 20 things. One of the groups that I post in says I've posted 22 times in the finished objects thread, but a couple of the things, my postings on the Ravelry thing, are grouped into one project page, and then a couple of my things in the group that I've posted finished objects in aren't posted yet. So it's going to be over 22 items for the first third of this year. Let's go ahead and look at a basic rundown of that. Oh, and while I was going through that, yes, I did forget to count one of the skeins, and that was the skein that I had gotten that I made the seahorse out of. And that is, the bulk of it is for my super special project that I can't really talk to you guys about yet. But anyways, for items that I have made and completed so far this year, I have finished 5 washcloths. All of these are pretty much in different patterns. The first ones I did were supposed to go to that family that had lost everything in a fire, and then I never heard back from my neighbor for donating them. So yeah, they're just pretty much sitting in the box waiting for me to give them somewhere to be, I guess. Then I also made 3 teething biscuits, which I really want to make more of these so I can send them off. That's probably the one thing that's kept me from sending off the baby blankets that I have finished, which I have finished off 3 of those, even though one of them actually became a cat blanket, which I need to take out all the little stitch markers I did for all the breaks in the final couple of rounds that I had put in, so that I can actually give that to the cat. And I have completed 4 scrubbers, and those all were for Etsy orders. I completed my 1 cardigan, which of course hopefully I will get more of those done in the other 2/3 of this year. I've completed basically 2 stuffies. I still have those darn eyes that need to go on to my Mr. Crocodile, but otherwise I can honestly say I've done all the crochet work, so I finished 2 stuffies. And I have completed 4 hats this year, and that would be 2 hats that are basically mine. My hat that I made from my leftover shawl yarn that I made back in December, and the hat I made back in January, and then my alpaca hat that I made to match my fingerless mittens. And the fingerless mittens I've only made 1 pair of so far this year. I have also made 2 shawls so far this year, and those both were the honey blossom shawl. I just made it, one in a DK weight yarn and then one in a worsted weight yarn. And then I've completed 2 ish socks, and I say the ish because I completed my husband's socks today, and then I have the pair that I've basically completed, but I think the cuff is too loose for, so I decided that I would revisit them in Stash Dash, which starts at the end of May this year. I think it was May 27th, and then it runs through August 25th or something thereabouts. But yeah, since I couldn't really count it for anything past that February date, I just went and finished them off, and then I'll go back and revisit those and try to make them fit better so that I can actually wear them this year, or I guess after summer, because we're pretty much out of sock weather now. And then I've finished 1 scarf, which was a test pattern, and 1 cowl that was a test pattern. And then as far as fiber, I haven't actually made anything finished object-wise. As it comes to my spinning, I have gotten my 30 grams of mohair spun. I have at least probably 30 grams of my Black Mountain Welsh spun, and ideally I was going to apply those together. I don't know if I'm still going to do that now that I'm out of the land of goats, but I guess we'll see. I have finished my 4 ounces of rose fiber spinning, and as you may have seen over the weekend, I dyed up that 2 ounces of either Corriedale or Cheviot, whichever one it is that I actually spun up, and I have that Phoenix silk merino that I'm spinning on, and I think that's all that I've worked on spinning wise for this year so far. And I think that's about it for what I've created so far this year. I would love to hear what you've created this year. And if you'd like to share, you can leave comments either here on YouTube, which I can actually respond to fairly easily. And then you can also go ahead and jump over to the Ravelry group. And we have a chatter thread, or if they are, of course, with a cake of yarn, you can go ahead and enter them into the Cakewalk Cal thread. Anyways, guys, I think this has probably run pretty long for one of these VEDAs. I had a lot more that I kind of wanted to go over for the first third of the year, but yeah, I'm tired and I still have things I want to get done, so we'll go ahead and end it here. We'll talk to you later, guys.